Hi everyone. Do the police always need a warrant? This is Christina Williams with Just Criminal Law.
And David Mann, legal storytelling specialist. Well, okay. We've all seen the scenes, in shows about criminal behavior, criminal activity, where someone says, hey, get out of my house. You don't have a search warrant. You need a search warrant. So I think we all believe that the police can't come into your house or search your car or your property without a search warrant. But I think, is that always true?
That's not always true, and there's actually several exceptions to the search warrant requirement. However, if you're in that situation and the law enforcement is at your door, I would always ask them for a warrant, or if they're wanting to search your vehicle.
Okay, so you should always ask them, and in many instances they need to have a warrant, but what are the ones where maybe they wouldn't?
An example of when they wouldn't need a warrant is, I see this happen a lot. So law enforcement is looking for somebody who has an arrest warrant, either because they failed to appear or maybe they have pending felony charges, and they know where the person lives. So they go to the residence of the person, knock on the door, and then they see something in plain view. Like, for example, they see a marijuana pipe and a green leafy substance on the coffee table. Well, right there, they have probable cause to believe that there's criminal activity going on in your house, specifically the illegal possession of marijuana. And so they don't need to get a warrant because in plain view, they see a violation of the law.
So they see, say, this marijuana paraphernalia that's sitting on the coffee table or something. Can they only search that area of your house, or does that give them license to search the whole house?
That gives them license to search the entire house.
Okay, well, that's one to look out for. So what would be another instance where they really don't need a search warrant?
Well, a lot of times, unfortunately, they're just having a conversation with one of my clients, and one thing leads to another, and pretty soon, the officer's saying, oh, I smell marijuana. Do you mind if I look around? And for some reason, people always feel the socially acceptable answer there is, sure, you can look around, when, they know for a fact that they're in illegal possession of marijuana. And so they just consent, and that's not something they have to do.
Okay, so that sort of makes sense. I mean, if the police show up and they say, I want to search your place, and you say, okay, well, then they didn't need a search warrant. So don't consent, I think, is probably the story there, right?
Right. I mean, you never know what kind of hurdle they're going to have trying to prove that their search was legal. And so, don't give them the green light, which is all you have to do is consent, and then your defense attorney really can't help you.
Okay, so that's two. Is there another one maybe where they don't need a search warrant?
There's actually several more, but let's just talk about one more. Exigent circumstances, and that's where maybe law enforcement has very strong evidence to believe that an individual was just involved in a felony, like say an aggravated assault where they pointed a gun at someone and that person's driving away from the alleged scene of the crime, and officers follow the person back to their house, and the person, gets out of their car, goes in their house. Officers can then knock on the door, and if the person answers, they can, or even if the person doesn't answer, they can let themselves into the residence, because under those circumstances, there's potentially another person that's at risk for serious bodily injury. There's just an altercation with a gun involved. And so officers can let themselves into that residence and look for the gun and, potentially visit with the individual if the individual is going to talk to them.
Okay, that makes sense. So they've seen you the suspect possibly begin a crime, and they are trying to protect against that suspect continuing a crime. So it sounds like there are many, there's, like you say, there's more of these. But the moral of the story here is there may be instances in which the police have every right to come and search your property and may find something that's incriminating, and you may end up with charges and facing some consequences. So at that point, you're going to need a lawyer. And how might they get a hold of you?
We'll include a link in the description where they can call, text, or chat with a member of my team anytime, day or night. Here at Just Criminal Law, we know you only get one shot at justice, so make yours count.